when you behave like a rich, when you do what rich people do, then your money is going to find its way to your pocket. That's what it is. So ultimately, what I would say to you is tell your kids, tell your wife, tell your kids, because this economy is not a game. It is messy. It is getting worse. It's going to get harder. You got to prepare. So talk to your kids, talk to your, any millennial or beyond in your family who's struggling to get a property. Just kind of present these ideas so that if the opportunity arises to do something like this, they can do it. Again, I'm not saying you have to go find people or whatever, but then again, though, you go to the All Black National Convention or something, you're going to meet hundreds of people who've been exposed to these very same ideas. These are not ideas that are being shared at predominantly white universities. These are not ideas that are being shared at HBCUs, from what I understand. These are ideas that we share regularly in the Black Business School. So you come to the All Black National Convention, which is going to be in Chicago, October 25th to the 27th. You'll find people where you can say something like this, and they won't say, "Well, that's crazy. That's weird. Where's that come from?" It won't be like it's from another planet. It'll be somebody who's like, "Oh yeah, I remember when Dr. Boy said that one time. He says it all the time, and so now I know exactly what you're talking about." And you never know. You might make the right connection and level up. Okay. All right. So one other thing I want to mention is you all know that my wife has her doctorate's in social work. She is a therapist, a licensed therapist, and she actually trains other therapists to be a therapist. That's how much of a therapist she is. She's a therapist. She's seeing the client right now, and so we combined her relationship therapy skills with my finance skill, and we created the Love and Money Lab because a lot of our relationships out here are a mess, and they're a financial mess. A lot of wealth gets drained from baby mama, baby daddyism, and also from divorce, things like that. So we're doing a session tonight in the Love and Money Lab on how to resolve financial conflicts. That's the goal for tonight. So because you're here in this room, you're gonna get an invitation to join us tonight, and the link is in the chat. If you'd like to join us for tonight's Love and Money Lab, we're gonna meet at 8 o'clock tonight, and the goal is to talk about conflict resolution because conflict resolution literally is the key to making things work. It literally the ability to resolve conflict is so powerful, and so you have some people think about it. You have some people that like to fight. You know what I mean? Like you have some people that really like they'll just escalate on you. The way they win a fight is they try to dominate you, right? You pull out a knife, they pull out a gun. You pull out a gun, they pull out a Uzi. You pull out a Uzi, they pull out a cannon, and next thing you know, you're launching nuclear weapons at each other. And so that ability to de-escalate as opposed to escalate is so critical in relationships. Everybody has problems. Everybody has disagreements. Everybody. I don't care how perfect the couple is. There is no couple so perfect that you never disagree on anything, but it's a matter of how do you disagree with that or how do you disagree with each other, and then also um is it more important for you, how people say things stuff like do I want to be right or do I want to be married, right? You ever heard that? Well, I think of it as like, is me getting my way more important than the institution that we're trying to build? Is the individual more important than the group? And I think this is a cultural norm. In America, the individual is more important than the group. That's why you have a country full of individuals. But the problem is that with capitalism is a team sport. Capitalist oppression is a group endeavor. They oppress you as a collective. So the reason capitalists have so much power, do you know did y'all know the history of how capitalists gained so much power in America in the last 50 years? They already had power back in the Rockefellers and all that, but we could talk about that one day. But let's talk about the last 50 years. The reason that the capitalists and mainly they're connected to the Republican Party, the reason they have so much power is because in the 1970s they said, man, this is we got to work together to make sure that we get our agendas pushed through. And so what they started doing is they started buying the politicians. They created this movement. They got Ronald Reagan into office. Reagan was all about, free markets and capitalism and everything else. And so he deregulated everything and pretty much pulled out something called trickle down economics, which was this massive economic lie that said that if we give money to rich people, they're going to share it with poor people. That if we give money at the top, then they're going to create all these jobs and all these poor people are going to benefit, which does not work because rich people don't get rich by giving their money away. They just don't do that because at the same time, what was going on was now here's the thing though. Here's what's interesting. Trickle down economics could have worked if they'd done it properly, if there was proper regulation. Like if there was a regulation to say, okay, every time we give you a dollar, you need to make sure 75% of that gets to your workers and everybody else. Right. If you had regulated that, it would work. But here's the thing that they did that really was genius for them was they said, let's get rid of the unions. So they said we're gonna be one big clump. We're gonna be one big group. We need you to operate as a bunch of individuals. We don't want you operating as a group, because if you operate as a group and we operate as a group, it's going to be two big groups fighting each other. It'll be King Kong versus Godzilla. No, we need to chop King Kong into 1,000 pieces and just beat up each piece one by one. Okay, do you understand what I'm saying? Do you follow that logic? Are you guys hearing it? Does this make sense? So effectively, they didn't just get all the wealth sort of passed to wealthy people and wealthy corporations, but they also started union busting and all this other stuff so that they didn't have any real significant competition. And you know what it reminds me of? Here's another thing it reminds me of. Is anybody old enough? You have to be old and you have to be a basketball fan to know this.